New York City is delaying the start of in-person classes yet again. Mayor Bill de Blasio is saying elementary schools now won't reopen until September 29th, while students won't return to middle and high school classrooms until October 1st. The city joining a long list of school districts that have extended their remote learning, and that has prompted a lot of parents to consider turning to microschools. Let's bring in our next guest. Shauna Causey is the CEO of Weekdays, which helps support 100 microschools in 4 different states. And Shauna, it's great to have you on today. Let's start by talking about what exactly a microschool is. We've certainly heard the term, become familiar with it over the last 6 months, but walk us through how it works and who teaches them.
Yeah, you're right. It's really a new term that we've been using a lot more since the pandemic started. And really, this is an effort of community coming together to support each other. And it's really taken off since the pandemic, as we've all seen. And usually it's a group of anywhere between 3 to 4 up to 8 children within the educator's home or the parent's home. And sometimes they're co-ops that are taught by parents switching. A lot of times they're getting support and help from former teachers or different people who either have childcare experience or teaching experience.
So these teachers aren't necessarily accredited. Do I have that right?
Well, a lot of the teachers actually are because they have formal experience, but the programs themselves actually do not need to be accredited. If you think about it a little bit like a tutor or an after-school program, these have really been extended and now they're full-day programs to support remote learning, which is happening in most states across the country right now.
So Shauna, we should point out that you founded this company at the beginning of the year, right before the pandemic, and now you've got a wait list of 9,500 parents. The idea of microschools isn't necessarily new, but help us understand how you have seen this momentum really take off over the last 6 months.
Yeah, so really as soon as the pandemic hit, we started really hearing from educators, and hundreds of them almost overnight. They were worried about going back to school, back to their childcare center. And if you look at it, a lot of the childcare centers are small businesses themselves. We're seeing somewhere around 25% of those shutter in our communities. So if you think about the childcare crisis that we had before the pandemic, now just getting worse, and teachers are desperate, parents are desperate, children are really in a tough position. So really we started to hear from educators first. And then parents over the summer, I think we're really trying to figure out what are they going to do during this time. And our school is going to reopen. There was a lot of uncertainty. And so about 3 months ago, when schools started announcing their programs and it started to be clear that there wasn't an end in sight soon for the pandemic, we just became sort of the go-to overnight. And we actually have a text line. So parents started texting us, asking for options, and that's really how we communicate with parents and educators. We're a tech company. So we just started getting thousands and thousands of texts, and it started rolling across the country as we saw these states announce their plans to be remote or a hybrid remote in person.
So how does the business work? I mean, do parents need to, do they have to pay a fee to get onto the platform? Do you take a cut from the schools that are actually created? How does that all work?
Yeah, so sometimes people call us like the Airbnb of childcare and school support. And I think that analogy plays well for a lot of what we offer. We are a platform, a tech company, and a marketplace to find really amazing local neighborhood schools. Where it's different is we actually have a quality bar. We do background checks. We vet every single educator on our platform. So that's where maybe we're a little bit different than Airbnb, because we only work with about 15% of the educators who are interested in working with us because we have a high quality bar. So the way that it works is there's no cost on either side to sign up. We start helping you with liability insurance, with all of the paperwork you need. On the parent side, you can go to our website and find a local neighborhood microschool. If there's not already one in your neighborhood, you can kickstart one, and we will come alongside and help find an educator, help find other parents. And then what we do is we have a service fee similar to like a platform like Airbnb or Rover. And so that's just added on to the cost. And so we really make our money back when schools are successful, up and running, when childcare programs are successful, up and running. That's when we're able to make the business work.
And Shauna, we've seen a number of companies step up to subsidize childcare and learning, especially given how a lot of their employees are now juggling having to deal with remote learning for their kids while also working from home. What kind of conversations have you seen, have you had with some of these businesses? What kind of growth have you seen on the enterprise front?
Yeah. So one of the criticisms that is a really big conversation right now is just, can everyone afford this? Is it available to everyone? And as we know, this sector was hit almost as bad or worse, arguably worse than any other sector when the pandemic hit, as far as just being unprepared. So the bright spot for me is seeing businesses, even nonprofits, coming and partnering with us. Some don't have any money to give. Some are subsidizing. They're moving something like a gym membership line item over to childcare this year to support childcare and school support. Sometimes they're adding a new line item to their, to their HR costs. And so we're seeing this across. We're in conversations with about a dozen companies right now that are Fortune 500s. We've got some already in place with hospitals. And then we've got one nonprofit that is fully subsidizing a micro school for their team and their students. So we're kind of seeing across the board a bright spot where companies are jumping in to help right now.
Yeah, certainly a huge growth opportunity there. Shauna Causey, CEO of Weekdays. Great to have you on today.
Thank you.